Every choice you made today was calculated, predicted, and gently guided by someone who has never met you. You believe your mind is an open sanctuary of free will, but it is actually a highly structured labyrinth where the walls are constantly moving without your consent. Your decisions are not reactions to reality, they are reactions to the artificial benchmarks placed in your path by architects of persuasion. The most terrifying aspect of this psychological containment is that you will fight to defend the very walls that keep you imprisoned. You will lock your own cell door and believe you are holding the key to freedom. It is already happening. The invisible mechanism at work here is not a simple flaw in your intelligence. It is a series of hardwired cognitive shortcuts designed for survival that are now being systematically weaponized against you. To reclaim your autonomy, you must expose the exploitation of cognitive biases, specifically the anchoring effect and confirmation bias. These function as the twin pillars of modern mental subjugation. If you do not understand these hidden vulnerabilities, someone else will use them to construct your entire life for you. Recognizing how these invisible psychological mechanisms impact your daily decision-making is the first step toward mental sovereignty. By exposing these secret methods of mind control, you can build an impenetrable shield against psychological manipulation. Let us look at how the human mind processes value. In 1974, psychologists Amos Tversky and Daniel Kahneman conducted an experiment that exposed a deep flaw in human judgment. They spun a wheel of fortune marked with numbers from 1 to 100, but the wheel was secretly rigged to stop only on 10 or 65. After the wheel stopped, participants were asked if the percentage of African nations in the United Nations was higher or lower than the number on the wheel. They were then asked to estimate the actual percentage. The results were chilling. Those who saw the number 10 guessed an average of 25%. Those who saw 65 guessed an average of 45%. An entirely irrelevant, randomly generated number completely hijacked their logical reasoning. This is the anchoring effect. The human brain is fundamentally incapable of absolute valuation. We cannot determine what something is worth in a vacuum, so we desperately grasp at the first piece of information offered to us and use it as our mental anchor. When you enter a retail environment, this vulnerability is exploited with absolute precision. Consider a premium department store. At the very front of the store, in the showcase window, they place an exquisite leather bag priced at $4,000. The retailers do not expect to sell many of these bags. In fact, they do not care if they ever sell one. That bag is not inventory, it is an anchor. As you walk deeper into the store, you see another bag priced at $350. Under normal circumstances, you might consider $350 for a piece of treated hide to be an absurd extravagance. But your brain has already been anchored to $4,000. Compared to the $4,000 anchor, the $350 bag feels like an absolute steal. You do not ask yourself if the bag is worth the price in terms of labor and raw materials. Instead, you celebrate your own perceived thriftiness. You have been manipulated into buying an overpriced retail good, and you walked out of the store smiling about the deal you secured. The manipulator did not use force. They simply placed a number in your field of vision, and your own mind did the rest of the work. But this is merely the surface level of the trap. The deeper, far more insidious layer of the prison is constructed from your own desire to be right. This is where confirmation bias is weaponized to direct your entire worldview without your knowledge. In 1960, cognitive psychologist Peter Wason designed an elegant experiment known as the 2-4-6 task. He gave participants a sequence of 3 numbers, 2, 4, 6, and asked them to discover the rule behind the sequence. They could test their own 3-number sequences, and the researcher would tell them if the sequence conformed the rule or not. Most participants immediately assumed the rule was even numbers increasing by 2. They tested 4, 6, 8, or 10, 12, 14. The researcher said yes. The participants, absolutely convinced they were correct, announced their theory. But they were wrong. The actual rule was simply any three increasing numbers. They failed because they only tested sequences that confirmed their existing hypothesis. They never tried to disprove their own theory by testing a sequence like 543 or 259. Why does this matter to your everyday life? Because you are doing this every single second you spend online, in conversation, or consuming information. Stop walking. When was the last time you made a choice that was entirely your own? You think you are searching for the truth, but your brain is actually hunting for comfort. Manipulators do not need to force beliefs down your throat. They simply need to present you with a comfortable lie that aligns with your pre-existing insecurities or desires. Once you accept that initial seed, your confirmation bias will do the rest of the work for them. You will actively seek out information that validates this belief, while completely ignoring, dismissing, or demonizing any evidence to the contrary. You think you are buying a product, but the product is actually buying your future compliance. In 1979, researchers Charles Lord, Lee Ross, and Mark Lepper conducted a landmark study at Stanford University. They took two groups of participants. One group strongly supported the death penalty, while the other group strongly opposed it. Both groups were presented with two fictitious but highly detailed scientific studies. One study provided data showing that the death penalty deterred crime, while the other study provided data showing it had no deterrent effect. A completely rational mind would look at both sides, recognize the complexity, and perhaps move slightly toward a more balanced, moderate position. But that is not what happened. Instead, both groups suffered from what is known as biased assimilation. The supporters of the death penalty found minor flaws in the study that opposed deterrence, while praising the methodology of the study that supported deterrence. The opponents of the death penalty did the exact opposite. After reading the exact same two studies, both groups became even more polarized and more deeply entrenched in their original, opposing beliefs. The facts did not change their minds. The facts only served as ammunition to defend their existing mental prisons. Consider how this operates in toxic relationships or high-pressure workplaces. A manipulative partner or manager will drop an anchor about your worth. They might casually mention that you are lucky to have this position because the job market is brutal, or hint that no one else would tolerate your specific quirks. That is the anchor. From that moment on, every mistake you make, every stressful day you experience, is filtered through that anchor. Your confirmation bias actively looks for signs that they are right and you are indeed inadequate. You overlook their toxicity and focus entirely on your own perceived shortcomings. You have built your own prison cells using their blueprints. Think about how easily media algorithms exploit this. They do not present you with objective reality. They serve you a curated stream of content that mirrors your fears and validates your biases. If you believe the world is falling apart, the algorithm will feed you 12 videos showing societal collapse. If you believe a specific group of people is evil, your feed will be filled with stories of their misdeeds. You will look at this mountain of evidence and believe you are making an objective, informed assessment of the world. In reality, you are looking at a highly polished mirror designed to keep you angry, terrified, and predictable. To break free from this matrix of manipulation, you must develop a highly disciplined set of cognitive defense mechanisms. It is not enough to simply know these biases exist. You must actively train your mind to bypass them. The first defense is the red line strategy, designed to neutralize the anchoring effect entirely. Before you enter any negotiation, purchase, or critical discussion, you must establish an independent, data-backed value estimate in absolute isolation. If you are buying a car, negotiating a salary, or deciding on a project timeline, write down your limit on a physical piece of paper before you hear their first offer. This physical piece of paper acts as your external anchor. When the other party presents an absurdly high or low starting figure, do not attempt to negotiate from their number. Instead, recognize that their number is a psychological weapon designed to pull you off balance. Force the conversation back to your pre-established baseline. If they refuse to move toward your reality, you must be prepared to walk away immediately. The second defense is the introduction of cognitive friction. Your brain loves speed because speed conserves metabolic energy. Manipulators exploit this by creating a sense of manufactured urgency. Buy now, limited offer, decide today, or lose this opportunity forever. When you feel that sudden spike of urgency, your fast, emotional brain takes the wheel, leaving you highly vulnerable to cognitive traps. You must deliberately slow down the mechanism. When presented with a critical decision, implement a mandatory 24-hour pause. During this period, write down the decision in 3 distinct ways, reversing the framing of the choice. If the choice is framed as, "What do I gain by saying yes?" rewrite it to ask, "What do I permanently lose by saying yes?" This forced shift in perspective breaks the neural tracks of the anchor. The third defense is the adversary simulation. To destroy confirmation bias, you must become your own intellectual opponent. When you hold a strong belief about a person, a financial decision, or a societal event, you must actively seek out the most intelligent, well-reasoned argument that opposes your view. Do not look at weak, easily defeated opposing arguments. Search for the strongest counterpoint possible. Force yourself to write down 3 reasons why your current belief could be completely incorrect. If you cannot find any reasons, it means your confirmation bias has already sealed the exit doors of your mind. Let that sink in. When you begin to apply these defenses, a profound and somewhat unsettling shift occurs in how you perceive human interaction. You start to see that the world is not a collection of random events and spontaneous choices. Instead, it is a vast, interconnected web of psychological gravity wells. You will walk through a retail store and see not merchandise, but a carefully calibrated battlefield of anchors designed to drain your resources. You will listen to conversations and realize that most people are not actually exchanging ideas. They are simply chanting their confirmed biases back and forth to feel safe in the dark. You will see the subtle hooks in the words of your friends, your employers, and the media you consume. This realization can feel incredibly isolating at first. You may feel as though you are the only sober person in a room full of sleepwalkers. But this discomfort is the precise moment your psychological shackles begin to rust and fall away. You are no longer a leaf pushed around by the wind of external suggestion. You are becoming the wind itself. Now that you can see the bars of the cage, you face a critical decision. You can pretend you never saw them and return to the comfortable warmth of your illusions, or you can choose to deepen your understanding of the hidden forces that shape human behavior. The choice is entirely yours, but once the veil is lifted, it can never be pulled down again. Commit to your cognitive sovereignty, secure your mind, because what we have exposed today is merely the threshold. There is an even deeper, far more covert level of psychological architecture that dictates not just what you think, but who you believe you are at your absolute core. The next revelation will dismantle the final illusion of your identity. Stay vigilant.